Hey everyone, I just want to answer a question that I get all the time from clients. How many sessions do I need of brain spotting? And this is a really tricky question to answer because, of course, everyone's different and everybody comes with a set of different experiences. For some single event trauma, so if there's been an acute traumatic event take place and that's the only thing that someone's wanting to work through, then that can sometimes be accomplished within, a few sessions. And other people, it might take a bit longer. For people wanting to address and heal more complex issues, it's going to take a lot more time. And I just want to dispel the myth around brain spotting that it's this super rapid kind of silver bullet to all of your problems. I think when we're dealing with a dysregulated nervous system, that's always going to take a bit of time to correct and to heal. And that can't be rushed either. So I often find that I'm seeing more clients who want really, really quick results. And I understand that because it's not pleasant living in a state of dysregulation. But depending on the complexity of why you are in that state of dysregulation, it's going to take time to work through that. So we're in a state right now in terms of the information and especially what's being shown on social media around these kind of quick fire, rapid kind of solutions to very complex problems. And they feel really good in the moment. There's so many sound bites and, reels and, Instagrams and YouTube clips, which are just like, you have this problem, you do this and it's solved, and, I fall prey to that a lot too because it feels really inspiring and you get this, rush of dopamine and you get these really kind of like surges of hope. And that can kind of push you up to a state which you feel like, oh my God, it's so possible. I just need to do that and it's going to be okay. But in all honesty, that doesn't work. And I think we all know that doesn't work. So I just want to say that if you're wanting to make really significant and meaningful change in your life using brain spotting, it's really, really helpful to enter it with a sense of, let's just see where it goes, Let's just see how my nervous system is reacting and responding to this, and let's just see how it goes. Let's not come with this really big agenda that, after 12 sessions, I'm going to be totally fine. A lot of the time, I do see big improvements in people's central nervous system state within a few sessions. We don't want to rush any trauma processing work. That's actually, also a bit of a myth that is being perpetuated around that there's this kind of urgency around processing trauma and that it just has to be something cathartic and then it's kind of finished. But that's really not the case. And oftentimes the faster you try and process your trauma, the more roadblocks you're going to come up against. And that's really normal, and that's just how our bodies work. We can't move out of one central nervous system state into another one, particularly if we're in a state of freeze or collapse or dissociation. We can't just jump out of that, because if we jump out of it too fast, there's going to be an equal reaction to that. We're going to have a swing back into another state. So you've got to be really, really mindful of what trauma processing really is, and provide yourself with the amount of time to do that successfully. Another aspect of brain spotting, which I encounter probably more now, because I think that there's this idea that brain spotting is this kind of silver bullet, and it's like you only need a few sessions and everything's done. So people come with that expectation and that hope and that urgency to get things done. So I see people come to that and then they have this really like, whoa, that was a really big processing experience, because a lot of the time, if we're not used to working in a subcortical kind of embodied bottom-up approach, that can take us by surprise. And so people come and they start working on their trauma, and then they kind of step back and say, oh, I don't know if I want to continue with that, which is totally fine. You're the best judge of what you need. But then there's this other phenomenon in brain spotting, and all therapies really, that when we start working on these issues, it's going to bring up a lot of things. And if we're not able to continue and work through them, then sometimes we're left in a state of limbo with all of this stuff. Therapy is really good at opening the box. And what we need to be able to do is to understand that from the get-go, I think, and to really anticipate that and work around how we can support that process. And sometimes you need to have breaks. But I think if you're really wanting to do any type of trauma work and trauma processing work, in order to do that safely and effectively, I think it's really important to understand that it's going to be a process, and it's really helpful if you're able to commit to the process. So there's another aspect of Brainspotting which I want to discuss as well in terms of length of sessions. How many sessions do I need? So this is a personal story. I went through a divorce about 18 months ago, which totally floored me. And, I stopped posting, I stopped making videos. I really, it was a really stressful and horrible and painful event. And I'm still processing a lot of things around that. But what I did do is I have a Brainspotting therapist, and I was seeing her weekly, and I was having weekly Brainspotting sessions for over a year. And so that brings it into a different frame as well. Like if we're dealing with something situational, if we're trying to work through something like a really constant in our life, or we're trying to work through a change, and that change is going to be ongoing, Brainspotting can be insanely helpful for helping our nervous system sustain and survive that. It also works on a lot of other aspects as well. So in my weekly Brainspotting for over a year, what I noticed was I was not just dealing with the weekly accumulation of stress and distress from the process of divorce, but I was also able to work on all of the other aspects around all of the wounds which are activated by that. So my early attachment wounds, my relational wounds, issues around trust, issues around guilt and shame, and all of those things. So they were really part of it as well. And it was really, really helpful. It was the one thing which totally stopped me from burning out. I was able to enter into that weekly as a container. I was able to view that weekly Brainspotting as a container and as a tool that I was able to use to enable my body to discharge that stress instead of it building up. And that was so helpful. And so that gave me a lot of insight around what can Brainspotting be used for, and how long is treatment. So again, it really, really depends on the type of situation you're dealing with, and also your goals. Like one of my goals for having weekly Brainspotting was to also sort my nervous system out, for one, and because I'm a practitioner, I wanted to learn more about it from the perspective of a client. I've been doing Brainspotting for a while now, and doing my own Brainspotting has really helped me understand that. It's also primed my nervous system to be able to work with clients at a deeper and more effective level. So I hope you found that video helpful. If you have any further questions about anything mentioned today, feel free to drop a comment below, and I'll do my best to answer that. And you can contact me directly by going to my website. I'll leave a link below. So thanks so much. I appreciate all the views and comments and support. Have a great day. Bye.